This next talk I am really excited about because I have not gotten to really explore Lugano, and I've been at the conference the whole time, and I really want to see about Lugano setting the standard, as I hear, and full adoption of Bitcoin and USDT for city payments, which is so epic. Welcome, Paolo Bortolin. How are you doing?
Hi everybody, good afternoon. I hope you had a very great Plan B forum. Is it okay so far? Cool. Well, it's really late and it's the last day, so let's do a very light topic, but not less important because we are talking about a public institution, the city of Lugano, adopting Bitcoin and USDT for, let's say, payment, full adoption. Then I will explain what I mean for full adoption, but trust me, it looks like simple, but it is not. And today, Lugano is really advanced on this because we accept Bitcoin and Tether for payments for all city services. Let's start from the beginning. Why we did this? Well, since 2016, the city has put in its strategic guidelines, which is a document which sets the future, the roadmap for developing the city. We put digital transformation and innovation as a core important topic for us. And in 2021, we incorporated blockchain with the name of blockchain as a technology to use to really develop the future of the city. We started in 2020 with the Luga. You may have heard about the Luga. It's our payment token. It's a showcase, a unique showcase, I think. Around the world, they ask us to explain this. It's basically a payment token. It's working in the city of Lugano. I'm not going into details of this because we will take an hour to explain why we did this, but basically it was a response to the pandemic and we tried to figure out how to save our economy, our local shops, and we helped them by creating a payment token. Then a year later, we have set up our own blockchain, Tria Chain, and then Lugano's Plan B came in 2022. You all know what Plan B is, right? This is one of the biggest manifestation of the Plan B. And inside of the Plan B, we had one very important topic. One goal is to promote the payments in Bitcoin, because it's Bitcoin, and Tether, because it's a stable coin, and also because it's our partner on this big project, which is Plan B. So basically, this is the start, why Lugano is accepting today Bitcoin and Tether. We started in 2020 with the merchants who were already using the Luga. So the Luga was there since 2020. And in 2022, we had around, I think, 6,000 users with active digital wallets and Lugas on their wallets. And we had more or less 200 merchants already active with the digital wallet. So we decided to start from those merchants to try to introduce the payments in Bitcoin and Tether. And we did this through a physical point of sale, exactly like the same like the one you use for the credit cards. We partnered with Go Crypto at that time. Today is Naka. You have a very nice stand in the Villa Chani. This is our partner for the payment with the merchants. And today, we have more than 400 merchants and shops around Lugano accepting this, and almost 20,000 users with active wallet of the Luga, and many of them, they also use Bitcoin. So many of them, they are also Bitcoiners and crypto fan. So they use Luga and Bitcoin in almost 400 merchants. So that was the very first step through the adoption of payments in Lugano. But then we say that Lugano, as is a public institution, would love to accept cryptos for payments. Where did we start? Well, in 2022, we started from our eGov portal. It's the easier way, it's digital payments. So let's start from the digital portal. We introduced the payments in October. The city council approved the fact that we could accept Bitcoin, because remember that in a public institution, it's not that you wake up as a functionary, as a public servant, and say, okay, let's accept Bitcoin. No, it doesn't work like this. You have to be approved by the politicians, and then you come down, you try to approve at the higher level, and then you go down, and you try to convince the people that it's good to do it. So we started in June. October, we got the approval. In March, we could integrate the technology in our portal, and then we start accepting Bitcoin and USDT in our digital portal. We did this by partnering with UTrust at that time. Now it's X-Money is the name of the company. But honestly, in the digital portal, we didn't have a great success. Really few hundreds of francs in payments, since basically March 2023. I don't know why. Well, I have to say that in this portal, we only sell small services. Maybe you can purchase a residency permit or a residency, extract, a tax certificate. It costs maybe 20 francs. So I was not expecting big results there. But it was the very first step towards accepting Bitcoin for the city of Lugano. But where Lugano is really cashing a lot of money? Well, by sending invoices to our citizens. We send out a huge amount of invoices every year for taxes, for schools, for everything. I mean, everything you purchase, every service you purchase to the city of Lugano, we send out an invoice. So let's start from what an invoice is in Switzerland, generally speaking. In Switzerland, since 2020, the whole traditional financial sector adopted the ISO 20022 standard, which is an international standard for payments. And today, each invoice has a QR code. This is the banking QR code inserted in the invoices. I can show you an example. This is a typical example of the city of Lugano. You have what you have to pay, and here you have the slip, which you can, take out, go to the bank, scan the code, and pay the invoice. This is the traditional way. And this QR code is everywhere, in each single invoice of all companies all around Switzerland. So then you go with this to the postal service, you pay cash, or you go through your e-banking, you scan the code, and you pay the bill. You have all the information inside of this code, name, number of invoice, number of client number, everything we need for the accounting. So starting from this point, I have to explain that Lugano is a quite big institution. We have a $500 million, let's say, budget, which means it's a $500 million of amount of invoices that we send out. So it's not a small company, it's let's say, a big company. And we have basically 4 IT systems which issue invoices. I'm still talking about normal invoices. We have SAP, for the one who knows who SAP are. Very big system, very complicated system. Sometimes just to change a name or something in an invoice, it's a big trouble. And then we have three other systems for taxation, for other taxes, and for fines by the police. But basically, we have 4 systems issuing invoices, and then you cash these invoices through the banking sector. Now, imagine you want to accept Bitcoin for all these systems. You probably have to manage and to change 4 different IT systems. It gets complicated, trust me. How normally you pay an invoice is that you go to the post office or you go to the banking, you pay. Then PostFinance, which is one of the largest banks in Switzerland, is a public bank owned by the Swiss Confederation, actually by the Postal Service, is basically the leader in payments in Switzerland. They do millions and millions of payments. So they treat these payments for us. They collect the payments. They create a file which is CAMP 54, the name is on the ISO 20022 standards. They send us the file, they send us the money on the account, and then we take the file, we read the file inside of SAP and the other 3 systems, and we close the accounting. Because you have to imagine for each invoice we send out, we have an accounting behind, and this complicates because you have to reach the right account, the right invoice, and say, okay, this is paid 50 francs. 100 francs. And you don't have to make a mistake, otherwise you start collecting invoices that are already paid, and citizens get really pissed off of this. It doesn't happen, but it could happen. Imagine that Lugano, last year, we issued 300,000 invoices for an amount of more or less 400 million. That's huge. So, and imagine if we can convince the whole, clients, the whole users, to pay all in Bitcoin. It's a huge amount. It will be a very, very big adoption. But before to reach that point, well, we have to set up a system where the citizens can use their Bitcoin and USDT to pay that, but it has to be in a very innovative way or a very, let's say, automatic, organized way. It doesn't have to be manual. I cannot send you a code and then you send me the Bitcoin and then we convert the Bitcoin, and it doesn't matter what you do, but for 300,000 invoices is not the way you want to go. For 10 invoices, yes, but for this volume, not. And we really would like to open up to the whole amount of collection for the whole amount of invoices we send out. So the objective was to no restriction on what you can pay, and all invoices has to be eligible to be paid in Bitcoin and Tether, which means not only taxes, really everything. So if you adopt something, it has to be a full adoption. Otherwise, it's just a test, right? And we don't like tests. We really like to move on real-world actions. The other point is we wouldn't like to have limits on what we can be paid. Limits on whatsoever you are paying and on the amount you want to pay. And then the third goal was to have a full automated system, which means that imagine that suddenly everybody has Bitcoin. Why not? And then the 300,000 invoices are paid in Bitcoin. You don't want to have a manual interaction or a phone call just to know how can I use my Bitcoin to pay, because then you need maybe 10 people more just to manage the same process as before was fully automated, and you had maybe 2 people managing this. So these 3 were the 3, let's say, target for us. No restriction, no limits on the amount, and fully automated system. That was a big challenge, trust me, for a public institution even more. So what challenge we had to face? Well, legal, internal approval, technical, organizational. That's a normal project. I mean, all projects are more or less the same challenges you face. Speaking about the legal challenge, well, many questions, legal solves many questions. Can Lugano accept BTC payments? Well, the answer is yes. In Switzerland, you can. It's legal, nothing illegal. Limit on the amount? Not really sure. Is there any limit? Limit on what you can pay? AML? What is the AML you have to do? What is the compliance you have to follow? Which laws you have to follow, and holding crypto in treasury, is it allowed or not for a city? So few questions, but very tough question to solve. Starting from the legal one, I spent probably 7 to 8 months to learn about all the financial regulation in Switzerland, by the way, which I already knew most of them, and the Anti-Money Laundering Act, to try to find out the best solution for us. Because if you are a public institution, you are accepting Bitcoin, maybe 1 million in Bitcoin, you don't want to make a mistake, because otherwise, you're just not arrested, but you go on the press, and let's say the bad image you give as a public institution, that's a big concern. So you're really under pressure. I read everything, I put down some points, and then I asked a very well-known legal company to tell me if it was correct what I was doing and the way I was doing. And they confirmed everything. So at this time, they said, okay, you can do this. You can accept Bitcoin with no limits. You can accept Bitcoin for everything. You can go ahead. I'm still assessing if Lugano can manage treasury in Bitcoin. This is not clear yet. We have a law in Ticino for the municipalities. The law says I cannot speculate. Then the question is, if I accept 100,000 francs in Bitcoin and I keep it in my treasury, is that speculation or not? Probably, who says it's not speculation? Who says it's speculation? Okay, few. Well, normal, we are at the Plan B forum. My position is it's not speculation. If I buy 1 million in Bitcoins and then I keep it for a year and I sell it, that's speculation. If I receive 100 million in Bitcoin for a payment, that's just treasury. Because I used to receive also euro. If I receive euro, should I keep it euro or not? If I keep euro, nobody's concerned about the euro. Nobody will say that's speculation. They just say speculation because it's Bitcoin. So I don't agree on this. So this discussion is very tough. The law doesn't say I can't, but it doesn't say I can. So imagine that accepting Bitcoin for payment is already a lot. So I wouldn't like to go further with this discussion, just concentrate in adopting, and then maybe in 2 or 3 years, we can discuss about this second point. Internal approval, the very first step you have to do in a public institution is to convince the city council, the executive city council to do it. Quite easy because, Lugano has embraced blockchain and crypto and Bitcoin for the plan B, so they could not say no. So we said, yes, you can go. Then I had to onboard my personal team because, will this add some manual activity, so more work for me? Then, you lose the people because, no, come on, don't adopt Bitcoin if I have to work more. That's the point, right? And then I had also the technical side. What about SAP, which is really complicated system? If you touch a comma, then the system is not working anymore. You need like maybe 10,000 francs for a consultant to fix this. I don't want to go through this. A technical challenge was how to accept the payments. So I needed a payment provider in Switzerland, a financial intermediary with some very clear characteristic I was looking for. Remember, the legal opinion set some very clear, steps to do. And I found this in Bitcoin Swiss, which is a well-known company, which is established in Switzerland, probably since 2014. I don't remember, but it's one of the early stage in Bitcoin payments, and they're really good. So we are doing this through them. And the sub team in Lugano, they say, no, you have to really reduce the impact. So try to do as simple as possible. The organizational challenge is, should the current invoicing process be the same? Do we have to keep it the same? Do we have to add some QR code on the invoice? If I have to add a QR code, another QR code in the invoice specialized for or dedicated to Bitcoin, this is very critical. You don't have the space, you don't have the technology, you have to touch the systems. So that was really, really something we talked about a lot. Then we have to redesign the process, maybe not. Should my team really understand about crypto? Because if you're accepting payments in crypto, people calls you, and then, maybe you have to give the right answer. You cannot say, what is Bitcoin? Because if you're accepting it, you should know it. And then, should we dedicate a contact center for that? Will be 1,000 payments, 50 payments? We didn't know. So that was another challenge we faced. The final solution, we decided that the final solution had to ensure that there was no manual interaction whatsoever. No contacts, no phone calls, no emails. I just send you the invoice. You decide to pay in Bitcoin. Do it in some ways, but don't call me. Around the world, including in Switzerland, for instance, if I take the canton of Zug and the city of Zug, which I'm a big fan of them because they started way before us accepting Bitcoin for tax payments, I think they are still accepting payments, but you have to call them, tell them which invoice you want to pay. They send you a code, then you scan the code, etc. So this is kind of manual and human interaction. To me, it was no. I send you the invoice, you scan the code somewhere, you pay. I don't care. I don't want to see anything. And this is exactly what we have done at the end. And then also the payment, once the payment is done, then the payment should come in my accounting system in a fully automated way with no additional work for my team. And that was another very strong and priority for me. And the very important things to me was to use the same information we provide to the banks and that the banks provide us when somebody pays. Because when you're using the same information, then inside of the system it's much easier to close the accounting. That was the goal. Basically, what is the final solution? Well, very easy. We already had a QR code there. And this is the QR code of the banking sector. Say, okay, let's use the same QR code. Not changing anything. We have the information here. So with Bitcoin Swiss, which they were already ready, technically speaking, basically today you go, you scan the same QR code in our website, in a camera, and then basically, it reads the same information as the banks. Bitcoin Swiss caches the Bitcoin. You can pay in Bitcoin, Bitcoin Lightning, and Tether. You can choose whatever you want. And then when it's paid, maybe Bitcoin don't like it, but we convert immediately the amount in Swiss francs. This is because I can probably, yes or not, keep treasury in Bitcoin. So immediately we transform the 100 francs in 100 francs. So I don't have any loss on this, any volatility. And then we close the discussion about keeping Bitcoin in the treasury. And then Bitcoin Swiss uses the same information to send me the money in the bank, in PostFinance, exactly in the middle of the other payments of the banking sector. So I receive one file, one CAMT 54 from PostFinance with all the payments, the banking payments, the postal payments, and the Bitcoin Swiss payments. So one time a day, I have a collaborator, one of my team. He takes the file, he uploads the file, he closes the accounting. There is no need to do whatsoever. So this is, to me, a very completely integrated system. Now, if 300,000 people pay Bitcoin at the same time, to me, it doesn't change anything. They pay in bank or they pay in Bitcoin, doesn't change. Really, really nothing. So this is a little bit the system. You go in our website, lugano.ch/crypto. There is some description, text to explain what we are doing. Then you push the button, you have the camera. It converts, it reads all the information. And then you can choose if you pay in Tether or Bitcoin, Bitcoin Lightning. You have 4 minutes to realize the payment. So you scan this code, which is generated automatically. The exchange rate with the Swiss franc stays for 4 minutes. Then for reason of volatility, it recalculates every 5 minutes. So you can spend an hour watching the QR code if you want, but it will recalculate every 5 minutes. Don't speculate on this. And then you pay, and that's it. And I don't even notice that you have paid in Bitcoin. I have a file, an Excel file, which is linked to Bitcoin Swiss. Sometimes I click to see, let's see if somebody paid in Bitcoin. And then I see the information there, but maybe, everything is already in the accounting. No need to have other information on that. So to me, this is full adoption, no limits in the amount. You can pay how much you want. It depends on the invoice, naturally. You have access 24 hours a day to the payment system, so like the e-banking sector. This is some statistics. We launched this on the 6th of December last year. I was not expecting millions and millions in Swiss francs in payments. Bitcoin is going up and down, but people try to keep the Bitcoin as an investment, some tethers. But here is a little bit the statistic, what I've done until now. On the left, we have total payments by system. SAP is general accounting. Lalia and taxes are personal taxes and company taxes. You see that people are using this for most of them for taxes. It's also because the tax invoices are the biggest one. In the other system, we have invoices from 5 francs to 5,000 francs. Taxes can go from 50 francs to maybe 1 million. So you see that there is a big difference. And the other side, you see the number of payments, not many, I think 42, but still, we are using this. What is very important in this slice is that I don't have to care about the system because it doesn't cost me anything. It's there, it's fully automated. You want to use, okay. If not, okay. So you can pay in the bank, in the post, or in Bitcoin, in Lugano. And this applies to everything. And I think we are probably the only one, maybe one of the few in the world, municipalities which accept Bitcoin and Tether with no limits. Thank you very much. Feel free to connect with me. I think we still have some minutes for questions, if there are some questions.
Yeah, we have a couple of minutes for questions. Here we go.
I'm sorry, I understand it's very late, so it's not easy to speak at the end, but thanks for coming to Lugano. I really appreciate you're all here.
Thank you, and applaud you guys for leading the way on this as a municipality. Just a question. Taxes is always seen to me as like the exclusive purview of fiat. When you think about the difference between crypto as a currency or for payments, like you can buy almost anything, you can find somebody to sell you a service or a good, but taxes, because it requires the government to accept it, has like historically been the exclusive purview of fiat. This obviously, people are paying their local taxes using crypto, which is amazing. how is that viewed outside of Lugano, whether it's in Ticino or Switzerland as a whole? Is there political questions that Lugano has faced over that, or is it supported?
On the payments, not. I mean, I don't remember a lot of discussion on this. On the general plan of Plan B, we had huge discussion at the beginning. You can imagine how much political pressure we got at the beginning. We almost, split in two parts, the ones who were neutral and the ones who were really against. Nobody was with us, but the mayor and our executive committee, executive city council. Today it's really quiet. We don't see much attacks to us, political attacks. On the payment, nobody asks anything, but I'm still just cashing taxes and cashing invoices, so I don't see any, I can even accept euros. If you have to pay me 50,000 francs of taxes, you say, I just have euros or dollar or whatever you have, I will accept it, Just to be sure you pay it, because many people, maybe, they come here, then they leave, if you pay me, that's fine. I'm not going to lose. So, no. This system is now available for all municipalities, all cantons, even the Swiss Confederation. If they want, it's there. It costs nothing. They just have to set up the camera and register to Bitcoin Swiss. They're not adopting. We'll see why. I'm speaking with, my peers, try to convince them, because this is really, you turn the button, it's there. You set up a page on the internet, and that's it. So I don't understand why they don't, but it's education. So we are, speaking a lot about education, and we are doing this too. So we started first, but we won't be alone for a long time, I think.
Very simple question. Are you thinking, or could you be enabled also to pay in Bitcoins, your providers?
This question, thank you very much. It's a very interesting question. I think this is related also to the fact that I can or cannot retain Bitcoin in my treasury. In the balance sheet, I can. I mean, there is nothing against this. I have euros, so I can have Bitcoin. Why not? The day that my suppliers adopt this Bitcoin a lot, then I can retain the Bitcoin and use it for paying supplier. At that point, it will be easier to show that I'm not speculating. We are not yet there, because the amounts are not so big. And then the ones who accept Bitcoin, for instance, here in Lugano, those shops, they are not our suppliers, because we have big suppliers for big things. And then we are not there. But I think in 10 years ahead, yes, I will just take Bitcoin and use Bitcoin to pay with a normal treasury activity.
Nice. All right, got one more.
Hey, I'm just interested to know how actually the technicality works. Like, when you scan, usually like QR codes are totally different between systems, right? Different wallet, different QR. So would like to know about that. And also the settlement, right? I mean, you mentioned about, when it charges my Bitcoin, then it's settled in CHF, right? So how does that work behind the scene? Somebody taking over as, the off-ramping and off-ramping or something like that?
Very simple. This is the standard QR code of the whole financial sector. This is really big things in Switzerland. So by reading this is really, you can read with your phone if you want, and you get, the information clear. So by using this, I can collect the information, who is paying, and for which invoice, number of customer, blah, 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 all is in this QR code. So once this information is stored by Bitcoin Swiss, they generate their own QR code for Bitcoin, for instance, which is a standard QR code, wallet. It's a wallet, right? And then you use your wallet to scan a wallet and you send the Bitcoin. That's it. Then they convert, I don't know where, or I know, but this is not, is their business. They convert in Swiss francs immediately. So if I'm scanning 100 francs, they will convert in Bitcoin and they will send me 100 francs. So if in these 4 minutes it changes, it's in their risk. So they have a risk management. Sometimes they gain, sometimes they lose. But at the end of the day, I need to receive 100 francs. Also because I cannot take the risk of the exchange, because imagine if you pay 10,000 francs in taxes, I cannot receive 9,500 because I'm making a discount to you. This is not good for the parity of treatment. I think you say this in English, of all the citizens. So I leave the exchange for 4 minutes. You do it, you pay, that's it.
Awesome. Dude, thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's epic.
Thank you.
That's epic.